Strategic purchasing in modern business. The importance of purchasing in business when purchasing will spend between 40 and 70% of the cost of sales. The role of purchasing in one-of-a-kind manufacturing and others. Short model life cycles and advanced manufacturing technology. Single supplier, risk versus return, spot, call-off or blanket contracts. Kraljic, leverage, bottleneck, strategic and non-critical. Supplier development, the Japanese, software and purchasing. Buyers tend to find some role within manufacturing and the vast array of service businesses, including retail. In many businesses, the buying function will be responsible for a budget of 40 to 70% of the cost of sales, and prices could vary by as much as 15%. In the vast majority of cases, you are your supplier's customer and your customers are other companies' suppliers. A web composed of mutually supporting industrial food chains ultimately maintained via the successful delivery of various finished products to the respective final customers. The quality of bought materials determines the quality of your finished products. To develop quality, large enlightened companies like Toyota and Hewlett-Packard actively develop their suppliers. Purchasing tasks. Locating and selecting a source of supply for materials or services. Looking at the importance of the goods being purchased to establish a suitable purchasing and supplier contracting policy. Requesting quotations and conducting negotiations. Arranging terms of supply, i.e. the nature of purchasing contracts, including terms of business, penalty clauses and product liability disclaimers. Procuring materials and services when required. Maximise purchasing power across a multi-division corporation or conglomerate. Finally, collaborating with accounts, material control and quality assurance to verify the quality, price and quantity of goods received. Shortening model life cycle and design for manufacture. It is a trend that domestic consumers wish to own goods which set them apart. This has been exploited by Japanese manufacturers who have regular and frequent model changes. Each of these is seen as an opportunity to both advance product and production technology. Such ever-shortening product model life cycles put particular pressure on the marketing, design, development, manufacturing and distribution functions. Research and development and advanced manufacturing technology. In order to compete, European industry is being forced to pursue higher levels of innovation both in the science of product function and the technology of product manufacture. However, all forms of investment in advanced manufacturing technology, AMT, almost inevitably result in an increase in the level of fixed costs and thus the necessary minimum break-even production volume and thus minimum market share. Now, the role of the buyer has been evolving greatly in different industries. In car manufacture, it's more supplier development and long-term subcontractor assessor than spot purchaser. In the retail industries, merchandisers are part of the inventory control. In one-of-a-kind capital goods industry, buyers are often part of material control, also buying in short-term chase subcontracting capacity. Types of contracts which always reflect risk versus return. Spot contract. In a hurry, no time to negotiate in the spot market. Call-off contract, set up by the buyer, called in by the merchandiser, whereby the buyer and company agree to buy a certain quantity of parts over a certain time period, and then these are then called in tranche by the merchandiser. Blanket contract. Collecting all requirements from a given technology and lump these requirements together to obtain a discount percent. Peter Kraljic, Harvard Business Review, September 1983. Peter Kraljic's framework shows on the x-axis company attractiveness and company strength, i.e. the more the company is spending, the more it is towards the right hand of this axis. On the y-axis, supply market complexity, supplier strengths and risk. He collects items in four classes. Non-critical items which should be changed to leverage, bottleneck items which should be avoided, strategic items which should be involved cooperation which should also be moved into leverage, and leverage items take advantage of the market potential. So leverage is where there are lots of suppliers of the item being bought and the buyer is spending a lot of money. Non-critical items are items like nuts and bolts, whereby a vendor-managed inventory company can supply the items and the buyer will do their best to turn it into leverage. Bottleneck items are where there are very few suppliers, or maybe even a patent holder, only one supplier. The objective is either to avoid using this commodity altogether, or to convert it into a strategic item where people cooperate. Strategic items, for example, motor car gearboxes, can, by the Japanese, as we'll discover later, be converted into leverage items. And that's Peter Kraljic's Harvard Business Review framework from September 1983. Single or dual sourcing. The question of whether to adopt single or multiple sources of supply has been one of heated debate. Single sourcing maximises supply risk, maximises market power, and reduces a source of quality costs, i.e. supplier process variation. Multiple sourcing minimises supply risk, reduces market power, and potentially increases supplier process variation quality costs. Ramsey and Wilson use the term adaptation response to describe the actions of a supplier in adapting to the tactics employed by a customer, with reference to the supplier's own idea of his market position. The suitability of the required adaptation response will often be measured by the customer in terms of quality, delivery, flexibility, and price. The Japanese. In 1980, Toyota had 168 first-level subcontractors, 4,700 second-level subcontractors, and 31,600 third-level subcontractors. First-level subcontractors manage the hierarchy and have the market power to negotiate how much of the profit or added value they get. Consistently good lower-level subcontractors are explicitly promised promotion to a higher level. Purchase contract bidding is only employed at the product model changeover stage, i.e. approximately every 4 years. Prior to the contract bidding stage, Toyota will have provided technical assistance to a small number of invited potential suppliers. This is done to ensure each of them uses efficient production techniques such that an aggressive competition among near equals will ensue. The contract specifies the open book accounting rules used to determine price. The buyer will allow rising costs of materials and customer design changes to be passed on, but cost increases due to wage and energy costs are not allowed. Successful bidders will agree to reduce prices by, for example, 4% each year for the duration of the contract. The top level supplier will have been informed that future level supply contract bids will be more favourably received if it succeeds in driving costs down, raises product quality and reduces delivered batch sizes. The more highly rated suppliers are rewarded with more contracts. For example, those contractors given the highest of 5 grades made up 20% of the firm's subcontractors, but received 58% of the contracts by value. Thus, overall, the Japanese car manufacturers have developed an elegant way of reducing cost and waste, while still providing a sufficient inbuilt incentive to retain good suppliers. Thus, strategic items such as gearboxes have been turned from that into leverage. Now the paper, Relationship Marketing in Japan, as the buyer-supplier relationships of foreign automakers, which comes from the Journal of Business and Industrial Marketing, Volume 14, Number 2, 1999, pages 118 to 129. This paper studies the relative profitability of 4 major Japanese automakers and the relative profitability of their suppliers at various levels in the supply pyramid. And the punchline for this paper is that Nissan were actually less profitable than their supply chain, whereas Toyota were far more profitable than their supply chain. So it has to be noticed that Nissan, through bad management, were ultimately taken over by Renault and are now part of Renault Nissan. This diagram shows advantages in developing suppliers. Supplier A has high cost, has raw material cost, the very minimum production cost, that's the very best possible way of making the product, as yet unattained, waste and profit. If you change the supplier to a second supplier who has no experience in making the part, they will do it for a lower cost, they will have higher waste, and we will assume they've got the same raw material cost. This is a dangerous practice. However, if we invest in the first supplier and develop them, still got the same raw material cost, still got the same minimum production cost, but we have far smaller waste. And pro rata, the first supplier's profitability as a ratio is far higher. So you're happy and he's happy. This screen here shows product development, procurement and supply chain management of Covisint, which was supposed to be a one-stop shop for the whole world automobile industry. Now Covisint involved virtual products, project workspaces, product structure management, product program approval, pilot launch and production. In procurement it involved quote management, auctions, catalogues and asset management. And in supply chain management it involved premium fleet management, freight management, inventory management and demand fulfillment visibility. Covisint failed. The reason Covisint failed was that the suppliers refused to join it. Companies like Volkswagen refused to join it. However, the internet is now widely used. Companies like Sainsbury's, Tesco, Walmart and Volkswagen have supplier portals whereby orders are processed and transport and storage and orders can be realised. Another application of computer systems to purchasing is that purchasing modules exist in large-scale integrating relational database systems such as Oracle and SAP. The ability to do relational search across data to discover how much you spend with a given supplier is very, very powerful. And because it's a relational model with relational searches, system integrators like Oracle and SAP can link various functions within the company to perform various searches. So finally, the role of purchasing amounts to 40 to 70% of the cost of sales, and different purchasing activities occur in retail and one-of-a-kind manufacture. There's always a price between risk versus return, and there are 3 types of contract: the spot market, the call-off purchasing contract and a blanket purchasing contract. In the blanket purchasing contract, the computer system can be used to assess how much money could be spent with a given supplier to result in a given price discount. John Ramsey & Co. Single player or more than one adaptation response. Kraljic, leverage, bottleneck, strategic and non-critical. Increasingly short model cycles and advanced manufacturing technology. Short model cycles give the opportunity to develop product technology and production technology. Europe is being forced more and more to go into advanced manufacturing technology by the rise of the Asian tigers, especially China. However, this raises fixed costs, which then impacts on the possible market share. Software and purchasing. Relational searches and portals are used by Tesco, Walmart, Sainsbury's and Volkswagen, just to mention a few. Then we look to the Japanese and suppliers, and how by investing in suppliers you can make a success for your company by getting a lower price, and make a success for the supplier by having a higher proportional ratio of profitability to total cost, i.e. the suppliers' added value has been increased.